Okay, the show will be starting soon. Just waiting for a few of you to arrive. I probably should show my face. Hello, how are you? Are you okay? Welcome. I'm waiting for the people to arrive on Instagram, everywhere. Where are you? Let me know where you're watching in the comments. Where are the very vocal YouTube crew today? I know. I've been getting abuse from Annie from like in the YouTube comments on a daily basis. That's a joke, not really. Where are you? There you are. Hello, Lena, over on Instagram. All right, mate. How are ya? How are you doing? Let me know what you're up to at the moment. Look at me, I've got brick wall behind me. It's a shame that my neighbours are noisy below, but that's another thing. All right, okay. Just waiting for you lot to arrive. People on Insta. Yes, mate. All right. How you doing? We've got a few people watching on the old YouTube. YouTube crew, you got to let me know that you're watching. Hello, Rialina. How are you, babes? Come on, the Facebook crew, let me know that you're there. Instagram people, what are you up to? What are you up to? Annie's here on YouTube. Hello, mate. How are you? How was your birthday? I feel like I've got a relationship with everybody, even though I don't know what you look like, Annie. I hope you had a great one. Okay, listen. Hello, people on Instagram. Welcome to YouTube. No, welcome to Worst Day Ever. I'm Eleanor Conway. Hi, how are you? If you're watching this, you're watching it live on a Thursday on YouTube, on Instagram, and maybe a few others. Hello, Ria. Where are you? If you are watching it on catchup, you're on YouTube. Well done, you. If I could just ask you to hit subscribe, hit like, hit subscribe, do all the flipping things that I need you to do. And if you are keen on sort of getting a bit more updated in actually your inbox, feel free to go over to my website, eleanorconway.com, and sign up to the mailer, and then I'll let you know when we're back doing live shit. As always, thanks to the Patreon crew. You are legends. Big thank you. Michael's there. I've already seen him. Ria's stuck inside like the rest of the UK. Very funny lady is Ria. Not dating. That's probably a good thing. I've got a theory that we, I'd like to know, what is everybody doing in place of dating and going on dates and having sex? Like, we must be what is everybody doing? What is everybody doing? Listen, I'm very excited about tonight's guest. He's all the way in Los Angeles. You can tell that I don't live there because I've called it the full name. He's a very funny guy. He is a contributor and writer on the Jim Jeffries Show. And his name is JJ Whitehead. Hang on. No, before I bring it on, I've got a new toy today. Hang on, I'm going to bring it on with applause. Hang on. This is proper cheesy. No, not that one. Yeah, it's that one. All right, hang on. Okay, so can you, people on Instagram, can you get your hearts ready and do the heart thing? And then the people in YouTube, can you also just sort of be interactive in any way, shape or form? At the moment, Annie is just very excited with the emoji icons in YouTube. I want everyone to get involved, and please welcome. I don't know if I'm ever going to do these sound effects ever again, but just bear with me for the moment while I just really like it. I feel like I'm a DJ from the 70s. Okay, please put your hands together, even though you're at home, and do your hearts for Mr. JJ Whitehead. Woo! Yeah!
Oh, yeah. It sounds like the real thing. That's
doesn't it?
That's what we need. That's what we need in the pandemic.
Did you think that was a good sound effect? Do you think that sounds real?
We'll take anything at this point, won't we? So we've been locked down for so long. I mean, you can bring me on the dogs barking, and I'll be like, a reaction that I can sense.
Are you on the apps? Are you single, Jay?
Yeah, I'm single. And I'm on the apps. And,
what are you doing in lockdown? Are you sort of sexting, or are you lining people up for like when it all becomes safe again, or are you just like, I'm going to work on my craft and my art, and I'm going to learn how I'm going to be better?
I'm failing a month at a time. Because if you consider from the start of the pandemic to now, I maybe got three dating situations to the point of a video date. And then once we get off the apps onto the video date, and then we maybe video date a couple times, and then just not that there's anything wrong with them or anything. The motivation just goes away because you just hum and haw unless you both don't want to believe that this pandemic is happening, and I'm in LA too. So it's a lot of, where can this go? So it just ends up fizzling out. I mean, you were asking your listeners at the start there, what are you doing? I have told myself, I'm like, dating can't go anywhere right now in my mind. So I'm trying to catch up with friends and family more. Like, so I spend my time when I think I'd be on a date, I go, you know what? I haven't talked to my cousin. So I try to do that. I mean, it's shitty, but it's all we got, isn't it?
Do you know what though? I do feel like as single people, and especially if we're traveling a lot, I don't know, there is a lack of connection, like, and reaching. I've moved up to Manchester. We were just chatting before we went live. I moved up to Manchester. My mum lives in Liverpool, which is, so it's close, but it's not that close. It's like arm's distance close.
Right,
but I got to the point where I spent 2 months on on dating apps. Sort of in between the two lockdowns, and I just thought, you know what? Why am I trying to get strange people to love me when my family have to love me? So
it's the best thing to do now. Like, and it feels there's more value to having a video chat with people who you already love. Nothing against trying to find love or anything, but you just realize how taxing it is. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I actually had a meeting with a matchmaker on Saturday.
Oh, actually,
I did it.
We had a matchmaker on last week. Do you rate it? What's the vibe?
All right. No, he seemed like a used car salesman to me. I've been telling my friends I could barely get through a date with my matchmaker. So I'm like, I don't know if I can hold out hope, but he wasn't listening. He had a spiel that he had to do, and it was all about, we're going to take, we understand the frustration and how hard it is, and we're going to take this out of your hands. It was basically a lot of that, and he had 3 sheets of a monologue he's trying to get through, and at one point he started saying, like, we'll find the right guy for you, right? And this is early on in his spiel. He goes, because we'll find the right guy for you. And I was literally on the other end going, no, hold on, hey, no, so stop. And I spent about a minute trying to get him to stop his used car salesman pitch, but he just kept going. And then there was a second time he referred back to men, and so I had to cut him off. I go, dude, you're not listening to me. We're all on the wrong foot already. And so then we rectified that. But overall, I left the meeting with him thinking, oh God,
Where did you find this guy, on Craigslist or something?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing when you start using those apps, because obviously I've been using all the apps all pandemic. I think these matchmaker companies maybe in Los Angeles specific or something, but they all find out that you're out there looking. So they find you, and they sort it out.
They're like, JJ's looking for pussy.
Yeah, they've known I'm lonely all year, and they've gone, there's something to capitalize on here. So it was terrible. So
it's almost like, do you remember I don't know, you probably don't remember, in the 1980s in the UK, they'd have all these like double glazing salesmen that would, I don't know if it was the same in Canada, and they would prey on like vulnerable old women that didn't know anything about anything. They'd be like, oh, we're here to check things. They'd be like, okay, and it'll cost you. And that's you're essentially that version, but in a dating version.
Well, yeah, this is like, so you go, because I got like a vetting first, so I had to talk to a lady, and she was nice enough, but she was like, we'll hand you over to one of our specialists. And she told me it was the matchmaking fees are anywhere between $1,000 and $35,000. And I was like, okay, well, I can tell which end of that spectrum I'll be asking about. But she said all that, and then she passes me off to this guy. I swear to God, the guy, I mean, to me, he sounded like he was, like in the West Wing, or he's doing a walk and talk with me, or trying to be cool with me, and it's just not working. And then I asked about the $1,000, and he goes, oh, well, it doesn't really start at $1,000. He goes, that's if you only want one date. And I was like, how is this working? And then he broke it down to me, and this is when I truly got the used car salesman vibe, because he goes, it really starts at $2,200. For $2,200, I'll get you 3 dates with women that you'll absolutely love, which I didn't believe right away. And then he tries to push me. He goes, what you really want to do, though, is the $10,000 option. That's our best deal. It comes out to $500 a date. All this while I'm thinking, dude, you're making me pay. You want me to pay this much to meet a woman? I mean, you can give me that money. I could spend that money on a date with a woman I'm not even attracted to, and we will have a very good time. So I don't know where he's going, but this is where it really turned me off, is that he goes, if you pay the $10,000, it averages out to $500 per woman, which sounds horrible. I hope
sounds
nobody
horrific.
crops your show out of context. I ain't gonna pay $500 for no woman. But anyway,
That's
he
the bits
goes
that's
to me
getting
like,
clipped.
yeah. He goes,
Thanks.
He goes, $500 a woman, but when you find love, I'll refund the rest of the dates. Right. So and then he tried to do it mathematically to me. He's like, so if you find her on your third date, that's $1,500. So I will give you $8,500 back. And I'm just listening to you, so I'm like, dude, you've just incentivized yourself to never find a date for me, because that means the more you fuck up, the more of my money. I was like, all right.
You could pay $500 and get a nice sugar baby for a nice date. And she has to like you.
I could pay $1,000 for a billboard. I could probably find some other lonely men to go in on a billboard on Hollywood. We'll split it 3 ways and just, hey, does anybody want it? Maybe I should be a man.
Maybe you should. I mean, you clearly didn't tell them what you did for a living. It's like, okay, which is the industry that has mostly suffered? Everybody in our industry or that works in a bar or restaurant. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Do you want to date success or do you want to date potential? That's all comedians. That's all the entertainment. We're a lot of potential. So if you're the kind of lover or partner that loves potential, that like any day it can be huge, it can be shit, and if that's what you want, then that's what you're looking for. There's a lot of that in Hollywood.
That's really interesting, because sometimes it's really hard. Have you ever written someone off and then their potential has come to fruition and you're like, fuck, because sometimes I think we misread, like we kind of misjudge people's potential, and that somehow has a value on ourselves.
Happens in comedy all the time, doesn't it? I'm sure that there's always comedians who we don't recognize you don't recognize their work or ambition because that's not what's showing on the stage, and so you end up going, oh, that person's not funny in my mind, or I don't see it. But then you fail to recognize all the other aspects of our jobs that go into that. And so sometimes you do see those people. I get hate mail from other comics every now and then. Like when I first moved here, I did the Dom Herrera show.
Okay.
And that's a hard show to get, but I had moved here from the British market. I did a co-headline with Dom Herrera in Australia, but nobody knew me here. So I showed up here, did this Dom Herrera show, and then just the bombardment of comedians are like, who the fuck are you? Where did you come from? There's can be an attitude that there's a queue, of like, you got to wait your turn kind of thing, which was new to me. And so I realized, yeah, everybody has their reputation. I don't think I've ever done that to a woman. I've seen it happen in other relationships, but I don't think that. I think I approach dating like the British do, which is that we have kind of a low opinion of ourselves anyway. so we really just want to have fun when we're dating, and I guess that is the problem that I've found now that I'm here in the I want to be famous hub of the world.
What is your stock value? What's your stock value in Hollywood?
There's a lot of that. Like I did have a 3-week dating relationship with somebody once, and I got home, and this is when I first moved here as well. And then my roommate told me that she didn't live far from me, and they saw each other, and she started asking him how much I make and stuff. I thought that was weird because I've just moved here. And then she broke up with me because she didn't feel that my career would fit her brand. So that was when I first moved here. And she had been in 2 movies. She had been in 2 little horror, like B horror movies. And then that happened. I did look her up the other day because I was having lunch with my old roommate. I was like, whatever happened to her? And then I looked her up, and she still has those same 2 movies on her resume. But I didn't do that to her. She had that attitude on me, like, which I get it. You have to have tough skin in LA. There's a lot of rejection. But I think a lot of people, both men and women, they might take that rejection into their dates sometimes and go, I'm going to sell myself to you because you better see my value, like that director didn't, kind of thing. So it gets a bit weird.
Well, it's quite ego. It's got a lot of. I guess there must be quite a lot of ego. Yeah. There's a sort of, because there's so many big fish in LA that I don't know. Like something that interested what you just said was like
That's a good tip for anybody who's dating somebody in the industry, or wants. If you want to date somebody in our industry, just hang in the wings
yeah.
and wait for us to get a rejection, and then you swoop it. Don't ask somebody out. Like, don't be going, congratulations that you landed your pilot. That's exciting. Hey, would you like to have a drink? None of that. It's gonna be when they're low, when they're feeling bad about themselves. You swoop in, you comfort them, and then you're okay until they get successful again, and then dump you.
Then they'll dump you. How do you deal with? Are you quite easy breezy, or are you quite focused? Like when other people when you see other people accelerate faster than you, I don't know if you've ever felt like that or seen it. Do you ever feel resentful, or how do you deal with that emotion? Because I think it's quite a dirty emotion that we don't like to talk about. But how do you cope with that? How do you make yourself better?
Well, I actually locked that off a long time ago.
Did you?
Glenn Wool, who's a UK-based comic, he said one of the best things to me, back when we were starting as comics, and when we're chasing breaks and stuff, and I think it's a common phrase. I don't think he invented the phrase, but it was great. He told me this when we were a couple years in, and he goes, other people's successes are not your failures. And that's really important as an artist to lock that away, especially in this day and age where you're building all your individual audiences. You're like even 10 years ago, we used to scoff, like, she's doing a podcast or doing this. But now you start to realize, oh, right, you're not trying to take a chunk of a comedy audience that exists. You're trying to build your own audience. You're trying to have your own people. So everybody's on their own journey. There's no point in being jealous of something that just doesn't even, it might be the same kind of art form as you, but it doesn't infringe on what you do. So you have to remember that, and just keep going forward and creating for yourself and build your own audience. I imagine there are people, and I know for a fact, like I tour with Jim Jeffries and stuff, there are people who love Jim Jeffries so much that I think he's the be all and end all. Like that's the only comedian that they watch or that they need. And I know that exists across the spectrum, because if I open for Jim, sometimes they'll come to me after a gig and go, oh, I've just discovered you. And then you ask them who their favorite comedians are, and all they know is this world that they found. So so sometimes you have to remember that we're the ones that are addicted to comedy.
Yeah, totally. And people it's funny because sometimes I think there's a definite movement of, I don't know, definitely been a movement of more like not working class. I don't really know the proper comedy terms, but I think sometimes UK comedy can be a little bit snobby, and really it's not for other people that think it's like they're better. It's not for like other comics to say, oh, that's not good comedy, because it's about the audience at the end of the day. If they resonate with it and they buy tickets to it, it's like, it doesn't matter what you think in your green room when you're like slacking off this guy in fucking
doesn't matter
wherever.
At all. If you'd have been with me, like I've seen Sacha Baron Cohen struggle in front of an audience, and I would never have thought that guy's going to be hugely famous in a year. And now he does nothing but rock it out. So you can't. We all have these weird impressions. I mean, I feel bad too if I die in front of a comic who I really respect. I'm sure there's some comics out there right now that think, how is that guy still in the industry? All they ever saw me was one really terrible gig. So what can you do?
So back to your dating life, like how can you find like what are you looking for at the moment? Are you just looking to stick your dick in shit, or like that was so crude? I'm so sorry. Are you looking just for like casual sexual hookups, JJ, or are you looking for something meaningful? And is it possible to find meaning in such? How do you find meaning in quite a superficial town?
Well, I think it's out there. I mean, I got. There's a lovely couple, actually there's two comedians on my street. There's a lovely couple from Britain. Chris Martin is a British.
Yeah.
We know each other from Britain. He's literally across the street from me. He and his wife, who's an actress, they're a lovely couple. So, and then up the road, there's a Canadian comic called Alex Nussbaum. And he and I were drinking at the bar at the end of our road. The night before the pandemic restrictions, whenever that was, like April or whatever. And I left. We were joking around about how we're single and it's hard to find somebody. Also, Hollywood gigs they're not great. They're not like going to proper comedy clubs in cities and stuff and meeting people. In Hollywood gigs, they're a lot smaller scale. and everybody's got their own lives here. Everybody's got an attitude towards entertainment because they're overdosed on it. So it's a lot harder. So I was literally talking with him though. I went home for the night. He met a girl that night, right?
No.
And he walked home. They're married.
Fuck
they
off.
got married two months ago. And I was like, oh my God, this mate of mine who I've been friends with like since I moved here. He and I have shared many a walk from that bar to our homes and many a contemplation of relationships.
I hate people like that, man. They just don't do any effort and they meet someone and now they're happy and in love.
Yeah, that's the way it always works though, isn't it? It's
totally.
Everybody's miserable until they're happy. So, you know, so I mean, so it is possible. You just need, it's just harder. It's harder in this town anyway, because you need that right combination of like I think daters have to realize that they're each other's recreation. They're not each other's careers. And that's hard sometimes.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because there are people who in Hollywood who think, how does dating this person help where I want to get as like what I was telling you when that woman that I was dating when I first moved here, when she was like, I don't think you fit with my brand moving forward. And I was like, oh, this is weird. And I've gotten that vibe from other women too, like over the course of dating, you know. And I have dated somebody who was cool for a couple of years. That was she was lovely, but yeah, overall you got to catch that vibe when you feel it like that. You're not. Why
did you move to LA and not New York?
Well, I lived in London I lived in Britain for 15 years.
Yeah.
So to me, London was my cold, dank, concrete city. So I think I'd had enough.
You just felt like you deserved some sunshine.
Yeah, man. Like, because I remember my roommate in North London, my last roommate that I had in North London. I remember one time I got the underground home, and by the time I got out Highgate Station, the buses, I still needed a 10-minute bus after I get to Highgate Station in North London, right? And I remember the bus wasn't running, so I walked home in the rain, and it wasn't raining when I first got on the train. And I just remember barging in my door and just yelling like, this fucking city, I'm not gonna, because the other thing too is like the homes are built for, I don't know what weather British homes are built for.
I know.
But anyway, I had enough of being cold to the bone. Of course, I grew up in Canada as well. So I knew I always wanted to avoid the snow for the rest of my life. And you know what, when the options were on my plate, I was just like, also I know Jim Jeffries, Rhys Darby, and Matt Kirshen are three fantastic comics who all live here. And I had come over a couple times with Jim before I decided to make the move. And I love it. Sunshine and, sunshine and happy. So I thought this might be a place to stay for a while.
Yeah, totally. So literally as lockdown was happening, I got a visa accepted for the US, and I was very excited about coming over. And I was very much like, oh, should LA or New York? And I thought, you know what? I'd rather be poor in LA. That was, so I wondered if there was another reason that you'd chosen it, but I think, yeah, both on the same page.
Yeah. Sometimes really fantastic. I mean, and I don't get me wrong, I love Britain. I loved all my years in Britain so much, but finally getting to step out and go, you know what, I might make a little less money here, but here's a way to define it. I was saying the other day, I own 6 pairs of shorts now in Scotland, Manchester, and London. 15 years over there, I only had one. I had one pair of shorts, which I wear to the gym, and that's about it.
That's it. So that's all you got to fucking think about, innit? Hey, JJ, right, so this stream is called Worst Day Ever. Would you do me and the viewers the honor of sharing your worst day ever?
Right, okay, sure. And it's only because you asked me on the show that I remembered this one, because of course, like any stand-up comedian, bad dates are part of our bread and butter. But
quick question. Did you become a comic to get girls? Was there any part of your personality that thought I might get more pussy?
Well, it helps. I mean, it's not. It was never my main motivation. I got to admit, like, I wanted to be a comedian really early in my life. So I wanted to be a comedian before I even wanted a girl. I wanted to be. Well, I saw Eddie Murphy when I was little, and then I was just me and my brother used to talk about comedy after getting home from school. You know, we were latchkey kids, so our parents were working. We'd get in, we'd talk about comedy. I'm sorry to say, we didn't talk about girls yet. We hadn't even considered it. So comedy was on the map first, and then when you realize that women enjoy it,
I love it.
This is
good. Go on, tell us about the take. Go on.
Okay, well, this is you might be, feel free to interject, because I've never told this as a stage story. If anybody, there's a story on my last album called Bad Burger Date, if you want to hear a stand-up comedy story. But this goes back before my stand-up comedy days. I was going to university about 45 minutes away from my home, where my parents lived. But I knew enough people from that neighborhood. This happened over Christmas break, and I went home for Christmas break, and I started dating a woman that lived on my street, and I got really excited about her. And
how old were you at the time?
What was that?
How old were you?
I must have been 19, I'd say.
Okay,
probably. Great. 19.
Set the picture.
Old enough to be drinking in Halifax, the city that was also where my university was. So here I was, 45 minutes away for Christmas break, getting to know this woman who also vaguely knew like some of my childhood friends or high school friends. You know, didn't necessarily know my university friends, but I failed to realize I also don't know them. Their friendship group has evolved beyond high school. So I didn't know who her ex-boyfriend or anything that was. I just knew that I was home for Christmas, getting to know these people, feeling pretty cool because I liked this girl. And then we went on a date with some others back to Halifax, back to the city to party, right? There was a bar called the Palace, which was, they call it the last chance for romance. So
it sounds like it's got a sticky floor, that one.
It certainly does. It is very sticky, and it's the one that's open till 4. So the other bars close at like 2:00, and the sensible people go home. And then this is the one that stays open till 4, and has colorful drinks in plastic cups and a sticky floor.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's full of any young people who don't feel that it's late yet, and it's also it's the last chance.
We've all been there.
Anyway, we're at this bar, and I had still been feeling great because she had been kind of on my arm and my girlfriend for the night, and my girlfriend for 7 days or whatever we were into now. I was like, this is great. And I only live 45 minutes. I'm only going to college 45 minutes away. I was actually accelerating everything in my mind. I was like, maybe maybe we'll date. But then we get to the Palace at like 2 a.m, and she starts talking to some guy, and starts ignoring me and batting me away and behaving totally different than she had all night. Now this is winter in Canada too, so it's like there's snow everywhere outside. I'm living with my parents 45 minutes away. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with her and why she's doing that. And now all these friends from school days, so not my university friends, but school day friends who are obviously in her social bubble more than mine. But they're coming over to kind of comfort me and go, "Oh, don't worry about him. That's her ex-boyfriend. She's got nothing to do with him. You'll be fine." And then it comes 2:30 in the morning. Then it's 3:00 in the morning, and I'm still there, and she's not talking to me, and she's just in the middle of this dance floor, not dancing, but just talking to this guy, like face to face. And I think at one point I did go over, and I was like aggressive, like I don't know. I'm 19. I haven't figured out that I'm losing this.
You haven't taken the hint yet. You haven't learned how to take the hint yet.
Yeah, she's been with me for almost a week. She's into me. I'm fun. So I remember. I think I aggressively asked her if she wanted a drink at some point. I just walked over like, "Do you want me to get you a drink?" Where have you been for the last hour and a half? And it continued. We're up 3:30, 3:45. The DJ does that thing of like, "This is it, ladies and gentlemen, last song of the night," and she starts kissing him.
Oh!
So I waited around all
Mate.
night. She starts kissing this guy, and then it doesn't get better. So she starts kissing this guy, and then I'm like, "Well, what the fuck? Fuck this! This is horrible." So I leave. I leave the bar. I leave my friends. I leave everybody, and I just start walking.
What, walking home? Right? You're not going to walk? Are you driving home, or where are you going?
Yeah, I'm walking in the snow. I'm in the Canadian snow. I guess I'm going to try to get a taxi. This is, very difficult to do though in Halifax. And so I was kind of unsure about everything. I'm just
romantic
walking.
though, mate. It's romantic. It's like, it's a movie scene, that, isn't it? You just trudging, your heart's been broken through the snow with no goal in sight.
Yeah, and then it got worse because a taxi pulls up, and it's my friend Matt. He yells out the window. He's like, "Jay, come on, let's go. We couldn't fight it. Let's go, get in." Kind of thing. So I slosh across in the snow, soaking wet, and I slide into the taxi.
I know what you're gonna say.
Matt yelled at me from the front window. So I slide into the back. Guess who I'm sitting next to? The two of them.
Oh no.
And and Matt's not saying it. I'm like, what the fuck? So I just and at this point, so it's like whatever, it's 4:30 in the morning now. This is my only shot to get home to where I'm from. This is my only shot to get the 45 minutes. So I had to endure. They're like sitting on each other's laps.
What a bitch.
Like making out. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like every now and then her hand was creeping too far and I'd have to slap it away. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm stranded in this situation because I'm a kid and I don't, as soon as we broke into I'm from a place called Cole Harbor. As soon as we got over this hill and we were Cole Harbor, even though there was 5 feet of snow, I bailed out of the car at a red light. Oh, I'll see you later. And trudged the mile or whatever to get home to my parents' place. And yeah, I mean, I guess the story would end there, but how bad a date is that? I mean, that's I actually did see that person.
Did you? What, and how was it? And were you on TV by then?
I believe, yeah, I can't remember, but I think I saw her. I think she went to my university. I think she went to the university that maybe she was a year or two younger than me. So she went to the university that I went to. I believe I saw her on that campus, and I think she tried to befriend me.
Bitch.
And I wasn't having any of it. I think so. I think she had finally because that's the thing too. When you go to university in these towns where you kind of grew up as well, there are the ones who live on the campus and live that campus life, and then the people who are in their little satellite towns living their life. And I think she had finally done that. She decided, I'm going to leave the satellite town. Maybe I'll try living on the campus or close to the campus like JJ does. And then that's when I saw her, and I'm like,
oh, so she moved to the campus then? She ended up being one of the campus people?
Yeah, I believe so.
And was she still with the guy? It sounds like she maybe married that guy. And this
I don't think so. You know what?
Okay.
I never chased it up to find out, but I'm pretty sure. I think when I saw her on the campus, she was trying to ask me if I wanted to have a drink or something like that, and I was like, not after what happened at Christmas.
Oh, did you say that to her? Did you say that to her?
No, I think I emoted it, but no, I didn't say even when I get screwed over, I smile through it and go.
Oh, really? Are you just really super nice?
Well, what's the point?
I agree. I've got a similar story.
Maybe I was getting laid by somebody better. So.
I had a similar story. It's not as dramatic as yours, but it just reminded me of a story. I ended up. So ages ago, when I was still doing drugs, I went on so I started chatting to this guy on Twitter, and he ran an agency, and he was obviously trying to flirt with me, but it was like, hey, maybe we've got some work for you. Why don't you come and meet me at the agency?
That's
and I was like,
always great, isn't it? Yeah.
So I go and meet him in I don't know, fucking
his hotel room, right?
No. Well, hang on.
Right.
So I went.
It's not a Weinstein thing.
No. I went and met him. I went and met his agency, and we were chatting. He was like, "Do you want to go out for a drink? Just chat further." And I was like, "Cool." And he was paying for everything. And then he was like, "Don't suppose you do some coke, do you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do actually." So he just he buys 10 grams of coke for the two of us. And then we proceeded to do all of that 10 grams of coke. It was very intense. It was very intense. It was the beginning of quite a toxic sort of. Basically, it was
That's what you would do with your $500 for a date. Let me get that matchmaker back. And go, dude, here's why you won't be getting my 10 grand.
Well, that's it, isn't it? You could you would find some common ground with anybody for $500 worth of cocaine, right?
Oh, entirely. Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll have a great time.
But anyway, I was like, I'm not going to sleep with this guy. I don't fancy him. And we had this crazy night. We ended up getting like this hotel room, but nothing happened. But then his mate who DJ did a strip joint ended up coming round, got the wrong idea, took loads of Viagra. We left the hotel room and just did coke in the reception toilets while he was watching pornography because he'd taken Viagra, the DJ. Anyway, that was the beginning of... That was the beginning of the relationship. Anyway, I end up sleeping with him like a week or two later, and then we're hanging out still.
I'm glad you waited. Especially in his case, I'm sure he had to wait. I mean, after $500 of cocaine, I'm sure he's like, can we pick this up in a week?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. You know, I don't know, like, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're like, this is totally cool. Isn't this cool that we've just met and we're hanging out? And then it would just flip to like, oh my God, I'm in a hotel room with a strange man doing loads of drugs. Anyway, anyway, we ended up sleeping together. And then the next time we hung out, he was chatting to me and this other girl went back to someone's house, and he just like locked himself away with this other girl because he was trying to hit on her. And I was just like, but what about me? Like, he just really like, it just reminded, like like just your story reminded me. It's like they give you one, like he was giving me one set of cues and one action, like one set of actions, and then cut to someone else entering the picture, and they've totally fucked off. Rude.
Yeah. Some people are only as loyal as their options. So yeah, I mean that's rough. That sucks. But yeah, I see that happen a lot. I mean, I had I just played Edinburgh last year, and it's funny. I was talking with Ed Byrne. So I stayed with Ed Byrne when I did Edinburgh last year, which was great of him to let me stay. But I remember how did it go? I was talking to a woman once, and then Ed, I think Ed was with me, and he was like, I'm more successful than Jay. But then I went, but don't worry, you played your cards right. And he goes, I'm more successful than Jay, but I'm married, I'm taken, so you'll have to settle for Jay. You know, being funny. But I confidently said, yeah, he's taken, but you play your cards right, I'll get him to introduce you to the guy that you'll dump me for. Because that's it. That's the way the ladder will work. Somebody will know Ed. Some movie star will swoop in, and which.
Did you end up? Did it go? Did you end up hooking up with her?
I don't have to. I can't kiss and tell.
Oh my God, you are such a where can people find you, Jay?
Oh well, here. So shouting out my window to neighbors. Well, we're not working right now, are we? I just heard that there are some gigs opening up by the end of the year, but so I have just started a podcast though. Which is exciting, just like everybody does, with a fantastic American comic called Francisco Ramos. He was on Last Comic Standing a couple years ago. He and I have gotten restless in the pandemic, so we have started a podcast that we're about 4 episodes in, so maybe keep an eye out for that. That's the best I can say right now. Other than that,
what are you doing with your days? Yeah, what are you doing with your days? Well, how do you structure it?
Well, today is called Put a Bike Together Day. So because my bike got stolen.
Mate.
My bike got actually just the wheels got stolen on election day. Because I don't know. I have theories that all the criminals were in town hoping for this great American election looting and rioting. And my bike wheels apparently were practice at 2 p.m. or whatever. So I try to find hobbies. Talk to you. Look at this. See, I'm at. It's almost 1 o'clock here. So what am I going to do with the rest of the afternoon? Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I'll be putting a bike together. So it's we're all trying to keep busy. I don't know. California's got another lockdown coming. I don't know how you guys are doing.
Well, we're just in the middle of one at the moment, and so that finishes on December 2nd. Right. And then because I think Boris wants to save Christmas like a fucking Christmas movie. So the narrative is very much like, we're gonna have Christmas. Boris is gonna save it. Who knows, mate? Who fucking knows?
Yeah. Well, it's Thanksgiving here in America. Being Canadian, our Thanksgiving was like a month ago.
Right.
The Canadian Thanksgiving is also a very differently defined. We care about our family and stuff, but I don't. The Americans in their worship of food is very much at the forefront. So it's Thanksgiving for them. So I think they've all got, I don't know. It's the American mentality, man. It's like they're all exercising their freedoms and
what the fuck's going on over there? What the fuck's going on? Are they gonna accept Biden? What's going on, mate?
Accept Biden?
Are they going to accept Biden, or is Trump got a chance? What's the deal?
Yeah, it feels like slowly all of the Trump entourage are slowly one by one acknowledging, that
the inevitable.
The election is over. So I don't know, things are going to drag on. There's definitely some bad scenarios that can come out of this situation. But all I can say is when you like, I've got yelled at. Oh man, I made the mistake of just going out for bananas. I wanted a banana, and I went to the 7-Eleven, right?
To the banana shop,
just to get a banana for a smoothie. I was like, I really want a banana in the smoothie, and it was something as simple as that. I'm standing there with my banana, and just a dude just came in and started yelling, "You're all sheep! You're all sheep wearing your masks and listening to what people tell you." And I'm just there in my mask. I'm like, dude, you're throwing spittle all over me now and screaming at me. I just came out for a fucking banana, which I won't do anymore. But I'm like, it was more dangerous what he was doing and yelling and screaming at us in this little 7-Eleven than So I don't know. We got to hopefully some mentality of some people will be restored with good leadership and a good message.
Who knows? Annie on YouTube is like, no ways, Trump 2020. Annie, you're a Trump's. Oh my God. Anyway, Trump is not over, JJ. Trump is not over. How do you feel about that? Trump is not over.
Well, that's true. That is true. He's definitely not over because he's not president. He's not going to be president anymore, but he's not over. In this day and age, nobody's over if they have a social media, so there's potential, like every other president or leader in history fucks off when they're done. See you later. But this is.
I mean, you look at Obama, and he kind of went into the presidency sort of like a real shiny newborn, and now you look at him, it's like, all right, granddad, it ages you. Even Trump the other day, he's gone from like his sort of orange hair to like sort of granddad hair.
Oh God, who knows how many like Darth Vader type minions he needs to put him together in the morning. But that's the thing. He's not going anywhere. He's probably going to start a news channel, or whatever he can pump his conspiracies out through, he'll find an avenue, because that's all he likes. He likes numbers and clicks, and people like that don't go away. Not anymore. They used to, but people like that don't go. So so you're right. Whoever the person.
Oh yeah. No, and he says Biden is an NWO puppet. I've no idea what that means, mate. What could you translate for me? What does that even mean? An NWO puppet?
NWO. Okay. Well, either she's a wrestling fan and is referring to the New World Order of the wrestling era, or she thinks he's a puppet in place for the New World Order, which is these are the conspiracy theories that I get sick of, because like yourself, I've listened to them even when I lived in Britain, because even when Obama won the presidency, I have some comedians love Bill Hicks did a lot of damage that you should answer for, because when Bill Hicks believed conspiracy theories, they were unique and thoughtful, but now I just remember that year that Obama won, the conspiracy theories went from, it's determined that they'll never get in. They've already, the NWO has decided who the next president is, and he will be a Republican. And then Hillary showed up, and then the conspiracy theorists just changed their narrative and go, it's the NWO has decided it's going to be Hillary. They're putting her in place. And then it changes to Barack, and they're like, this is what they wanted. It's like, these are like conspiracy theories that never get old, because no matter what happens, you're out there treading the line of like, this is what the powers that be want. This isn't your power. So you do shows all around the US, right? You do, don't you? You must see the sort of breadth of people as you move through the States. Like, what do you think? What's fundamentally? You can't really to say someone like a group of people are crazy, or you can't really do that. There's too many people. So what do you think fundamentally is happening? Why is what's going on? I guess there's a great mislead. People are very much misled. But I was talking, so Jim Jeffries, like I said, I was at his place the other night, and his wife is British. So fantastic actress, Tazy Danraj. So she and Jim and we were in his place. Now you're not going to get solutions from us. You're just going to get observations. but I got to say, it's a Canadian, an Australian, and a Brit, and all three of us live here legally here in America to work. But we were sitting around trying to figure out what it is as well, because the great thing about growing up in a Commonwealth country like Britain and stuff, I mean, not to mention like how much I loved my time in Britain, but you grow up in Canada, and we even get like permission to come to Britain for a while and work. Like, we're all connected, all these Commonwealth countries. And Australia, Britain, and Canada, we end up proud of our healthcare systems. We end up seeing the government as an entity that works for us. That's how you grow up in a Commonwealth country. You go, well, government, we boss them, we're their boss. We'll decide if they're in power, and their job is to negotiate drug prices for us. When you have a country negotiating a drug price on your behalf, it comes a lot cheaper than when you're in America and your insurance companies are looking to make money off of you. And so the psychology gets very different. And a lot of Americans are like, ooh, governments they're all just out there to, not that thought doesn't exist in the Commonwealth, but I think we see the value. We see the value of the social welfare and safety nets that a good government can hand down. And Americans they've never been taught it. They've always been taught, throw the tea in the ocean. Tell people to fuck off. Don't let the queen in your pocket. Don't let the government in your pockets. And it's burrowed into their psyche.
Do you think there's a change coming? Do you think there's a change? Like, you got AOC, and like you kind of got like more of a diverse sort of group of people coming through. Do you think it's going to change?
Well, I hope in time, because people like Bernie Sanders and stuff are, they did their best to spread the message of like, and point out, hey, America, you're the only wealthy Western country that doesn't look after its people. But they're the only wealthy Western country that are like, people are like, oh, look after myself or whatever. So, I mean, I hope a change is going to come, but it's always going to be very gradual in America, if at all, because they're, because they do love going against their best interests here. So,
what a positive way to end the stream, Eleanor. Sorry, I feel like I know I drove you down a really negative path. I'm sorry. I was just genuinely interested because I've been watching like the election like a fucking hawk, refreshing BBC News every week, every day, like even looking at Fox News, which I never do.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, you'll have a new one soon. You'll have the Trump News Network.
It causes me...
Which validate Fox News. You might have to be like, you might have to watch the Trump News Network and go, that's ridiculous. And then you can change over to Fox to get a more watered down version.
Could you imagine? But that's definitely what's going to happen. Listen, it's been really great speaking to you. Thanks so much for joining us today. Go and follow JJ online. Thank you so much. I'm going to do that weird... I'm not going to do the weird clapping. No, I've done the wrong one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. No. Thanks so much, JJ. Goodbye. Thank you. Brilliant. Thanks so much to JJ. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to support the stream, then I'd very much like it. Feel free to drop me a little donation, paypal.me/Eleanor Conway or patreon.com/Eleanor Conway. They're all the same. If you're like, I haven't got any money, then you can still support me in the stream. Please hit subscribe, follow on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. And if you want to find out when I'm going to be, if you want to influence my future live tours, then go on over to eleanorconway.com and sign up to the mailing list. Don't forget to put your city. And then if like loads of people are like, come to Swansea, I'll come to Swansea, mate, because I'll be desperate to get out the house once this all finishes. Big thank you to my patrons as usual, especially Mikey, and the other Mikey as well, and all of the rest of everybody. I don't want to leave anybody out. Okay, cool. Right, I'm going to go now. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next Thursday. Oh, quickly, also, if you haven't already, can you check out the podcast that I'm doing once or twice a week called Eleanor Conway's Moving On, and it's about fear in the time of... No, it's about change in the time of fear. It's been a long day. I've been very stressed out with my neighbours downstairs. Listen, thanks so much for joining me once again. I've been Eleanor Conway. This has been, Worst date ever.